Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving headfirst into a question that sounds really simple on the surface, but trust me, it'll unravel pretty much everything you think you know for sure. With the legendary Bertrand Russell as our guide, we're going to investigate that super blurry line between the world as you see it and the world that's actually there.
Okay, let's just pause on this for a second. This is the question that kicks off Russell's entire book, The Problems of Philosophy. And yeah, it seems straightforward, but the second you really try to answer it, you find out that pinning down even one thing, one single thing you can be 100%, absolutely no doubt about it certain of, it's way, way harder than it looks.
And that's what this is all about, certainty. You know, we walk through life just assuming that what our senses tell us is the truth. But what if that's a huge, unexamined assumption? Let's put it to the test.
So how do you even start with a question that big? Well, Russell does something brilliant. He starts with something you've probably already seen today, a simple table. He treats it like a philosophical crime scene, a place to gather clues about what reality even is.
Okay, first clue in our investigation. I look at the table and my brain immediately says brown. It feels like a solid, undeniable fact. Case closed, right? Well, hold on. If I look a little closer where the light from the window's hitting it, that part looks way brighter, almost white actually. So is the table brown or is it white right there? And just like that, the first crack in our certainty appears.
And then if I look on the other side, in the shadows, it looks much, much darker, practically black. So suddenly what I thought was one simple color is actually a whole patchwork of white and brown and black. Our so-called simple fact has completely fallen apart.
And this is where we hit our first major problem. If the table looks like it's a dozen different colors all at once, depending on the light and where I'm standing, what is its single, true, real color? You know, the one it has when no one's looking. Does that even exist?
All right, so maybe our eyes are just unreliable. Let's switch senses. I'll run my hand across the surface, and yup, it feels perfectly smooth. Okay, another simple, solid fact, this time from my sense of touch.
But what if we put that exact same surface under a microscope? We'd see a totally different reality. We'd see a rugged landscape of tiny little peaks and valleys. So, which is it? Is the table really smooth, or is it really rough? It seems like the answer completely depends on the tool we're using to observe it.
Okay, let's try shape. If I'm looking straight down at it, it's a rectangle. For sure. 4 straight sides, 4 right angles. Seems pretty certain to me.
But the second I move, that certainty just vanishes. From the side, those parallel lines look like they're converging in the distance, and those perfect right angles get all warped and strange. The shape I see is constantly shifting, even though I assume the real shape isn't moving at all. So, what has this whole little investigation of a table actually shown us? Well, it's pointed out this massive fundamental conflict. There's the world as it appears to us, the shifting, messy, contradictory place. And then there's this idea of a world as it really is, and they do not seem to be the same thing.
And this just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you have appearance, that whole collection of shifting sensory experiences. And on the other, you have this idea of reality, the one true, unchanging table. The problem is, we only ever have direct access to that first column.
So that begs the question. What do we even call all that stuff in the appearance column? You know, the changing colors, the feeling of smoothness, the warping shapes. Well, Russell gives it a name, and it is the key to this entire mystery. He calls it sense data. And the most important word there is immediate. Sense data isn't the table itself. It's the specific patch of brownness you see, or the particular feeling of coolness you get when you touch it. It's the raw, unprocessed data your senses deliver to your brain before you even know what you're looking at.
And that's totally different from the physical object. The physical object is the thing we believe is out there in the real world, causing all of our sense data. It's the real table, the one we never actually see or touch directly. We just infer that it has to be there.
So this totally flips how we think about perception. Let's break it down. Step 1, we assume there's a real physical table just existing out there. Step 2, that table causes sensations in us. That's our sense data. And step 3, our mind takes all of that messy, contradictory sense data and puts it together and concludes, ah, that's a table. Do you see the huge leap of faith between step 1 and step 3?
Now at this point, you might be thinking, okay, this is kind of cool, but why does it matter? I'm still just going to use my table.
And that is a totally fair question. The point isn't to make you doubt that your table exists. The value is in understanding what knowing something actually means.
See, thinking this way does a few really powerful things for us. First, it completely shatters the idea that common sense is always right. Second, it makes you appreciate the incredible complicated process that is just seeing something. And maybe most importantly, by understanding the limits of our own certainty, we can start to build our knowledge on a foundation that's actually solid.
And Russell just nails it with his quote. Without this kind of questioning, we are literally trapped by our own unexamined assumptions. Philosophy, even when it's just about a simple table, is the key that unlocks that prison. It lets us see the world with completely fresh eyes.
And so, we end up right back where we began. But now the question is so much bigger. If our entire experience of the world is filtered through this veil of sense data, can we ever be sure we know anything at all about the real, physical world that lies beyond it? Now that's a question worth thinking about.